If you were looking for a family-friendly excursion in the Cancun area, then you definitely want to check out this one that I did with Viator to El Cielo Cozumel. And if you are new to my channel, 3 Days and Tres Noches, I bring you honest resort reviews, travel tips, and information, and show you can have an amazing vacation in a really short amount of time. I booked the excursion through Viator. Now, I am a Viator partner, but this is not a sponsored video. I paid for the excursion myself, and I've used Viator for years before even starting this channel, and I love it because you can read through the reviews. You can often book now and pay later, which is a great option, and just really get all the information you need to make sure you are booking with a reputable tour company. The first thing I love about this excursion for families is that it is a half-day excursion. So I no longer want to do those full-day tours. They're just too exhausting and too long. On the app it says 5 hours, but then you have to factor in the time that it will take you to get to the Playa del Carmen ferry stop, and then the ferry ride over is 40 minutes each way. So be sure to factor in those costs when you are booking this trip, because it's around $30 per person round trip just for the ferry ticket, and that can certainly add up if you have multiple family members. So make sure you check that ferry schedule and you choose a time that gets you over to Cozumel in plenty of time for that designating meeting time at the tour spot. Now, the whole process with the ferry was something I wish I knew beforehand the last time I went to El Cielo Cozumel, because this was actually my second time. Last time it was with a different tour company, and it really does add some time and some extra cost onto the excursion. But it is a very easy process, and the kids love taking the ferry over, so it does add a little bit of layer of extra excitement to the excursion. Another reason why this is such a family-friendly excursion is that once you get to Cozumel and get off the ferry, you meet the tour company right there, and the tour leaves from the ferry port. So unlike last time, I had to take a taxi over to a beach club and then wait a little bit. And so it can just add a lot of frustration onto the excursion, especially if you're traveling with kids. You make 3 different stops in this excursion, and it does include food and alcohol. But one of the biggest tips I can give you is to bring snacks with you and also eat a very large lunch before you leave. 1, because you do not eat until the very end. 2, the food was not that great. So one suggestion might be trying to get to Cozumel a little bit early, especially if you've never been there. You could walk around a little bit and have lunch before going on the excursion. The first stop is the snorkeling, and it took about 30 or 40 minutes to get there. It was a beautiful boat ride. They do play lively music along the way. They don't serve alcohol yet until after the snorkeling. The snorkeling is very beginner friendly, so it's great for kids. They provide all of the equipment. You're welcome to bring your own as well. They have several guides that take you out there and keep you in a really nice small area, but you still see a ton of fish. In fact, the entire staff on this excursion was amazing. They're very attentive and making sure that everyone is staying safe and also having a great time. And the next stop is El Cielo, where you're gonna see some of the most crystal clear, bluest waters you have ever seen. It's around 30 or 40 minutes from the snorkeling spot, so they open up the bar, they get the dancing going. And the great thing about El Cielo, besides being so beautiful, almost looking like something out of a movie scene, it's very shallow. So if you have any family members that are not great swimmers or smaller kids, it's a great opportunity for everyone to get into the water. They also have a floating bar and the music going. The last stop was the beach club, and this is where they served the food. And this is the only thing I did not like about this excursion. I did not think the food was good at all. They served hamburgers and chicken burgers, and there is nothing available for purchase. So suggestion, like I mentioned, make sure you eat before this excursion and bring snacks, especially if you are traveling with kids. But it was a fun stop. They had huge inflatables in the water. You could sit on the beach, walk up and down the beach, and this portion was about an hour. Another positive about this excursion is that it starts at 1:30 p.m. So that means on the boat ride home, you catch the sunset. So it was a beautiful ride. They had the bar open, music going, we were dancing. It was the perfect way to end the trip. Overall, I would definitely recommend this excursion for families. I think it might be a little too long if you have really small kids, and maybe your older kids might get a little bit bored, but I think the staff does an amazing job of keeping everyone engaged during the stops. It's very well organized. Again, very beginner friendly when it comes to snorkeling and swimming, and just a really fun way to spend the day as a family. And the link to this exact excursion is in the description at the very top, so it's easy to find. But if you have any questions, or maybe you've been on this excursion, I would love to hear from you in the comment section.